Welcome to the Circle Investor Podcast. If this is your first time listening to the show, we talk about all things Central Indiana real estate, business, and beyond. If it's not your first time listening to the show, then welcome back. On today's episode, we talk about
this is illegal. Got a bigger check. I'll just duplicate this model as many times as I can. I immediately did it on the house across the street that I owned.
Welcome to the show. We have Alex Montagano here with us. Alex, appreciate you joining us today. Kind of by way of intro to anyone who hasn't had the pleasure of meeting Alex, he is a real estate investor himself. I know that you've done some home flipping, and you're also one of the top agents here in the market in Central Indiana. And you run a brokerage called Lockstep Realty, and you're at about 20 agents. And so I know I mentioned you're a real estate investor. You're at roughly, I think I saw somewhere about 21 doors.
Yeah, 21 doors. I think it's 15 properties or 6 duplexes factored into that. Bought my first home in 2016 or 2015. I can't remember now, but it was a duplex, lived in half, rented the other. Didn't know what I was doing, and got in, by way of the house hack, and then leveraged that over time to, buy my next property in 2018 and another, and shortly after that, and really benefited from 3% interest rates and BRRRR method opportunities. And I remember the first BRRRR method I did, I had 2 single families. I bought one. I had no money left, and I pumped a bunch of money into it, and I BRRRR'd it, and then I got this check back and was like, this is illegal. I immediately did it on the house across the street that I owned, got a bigger check, and was like, oh my gosh, I'll just duplicate this model as many times as I can.
Yeah.
And when I capped out at the 10 mortgage thing, I learned the hard way about how commercial lending works on residential properties.
Yeah.
Buying things thinking I'm going to BRRRR them and then getting different money back. So I learned the hard way around that. But we're at 21 doors right now. Our rent roll is close to $40,000 a month. So we do a lot of stuff around Sobro. We got a duplex near Irvington, one in the Near East Side. We try to keep them in the backyard because it just is like predictability of rents. You run it like a game of Monopoly a little bit, so everything is a lot more predictable. You can, if a property doesn't work for a tenant, you can move them to another one relatively easily. And then also, like, we've been a real estate team that's succeeded at a really high level in metropolitan Indianapolis. So we crush the Washington Township, Marion County area. So it's like we invest in the market. So knowing the market that you go to sell with your clients becomes very simple.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been awesome. And then a year ago, I bought my first flip by myself without a partner in a deal. So I've learned the ropes around that, and I have one under contract right now, but we've done 2 deals that we've closed this year. I've got one under contract now, another one I just closed on to start, and then we actually tore a house down near Butler Tarkington, which I never thought we would do. But funny story behind that: we started this project, and my business partner was like, "Hey, this house is a mess." The contractor kind of gave me one of these and thinks it's a pretty good idea just to like clean up the inside and start all the way over. I wasn't really paying attention because I trust everything this guy tells me, and I was like, "Yeah, whatever you got to do, just do it." And I drove by the house and it was gone. And I was like, "Hey, I didn't know we were tearing it down." And he's like, "Yeah, I told you that." And so this will be the first ground up thing we've done. But it'll be a really good opportunity to really kind of push the ropes here, if you will, from our perspective.
Yeah.
See how far we could take that business too.
So when you talk about a tear down property, I've seen people do that in the market, and usually my understanding has been if you keep the original foundation, the foundation's good, and I think there used to be a joke like you had to leave up like one wall, and if you leave that, it counts as a renovation.
Yeah, so we left the foundation. We had a huge project from Hitman Solutions, so they did a huge repair to the foundation to shore it up. And then we left 2 of the front porch pillars and everything else went. So yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, it's just what the salvage is. And I'm curious if you don't know, it's fine. Because I always forget. Somebody told me once that part of the reason you saw that instead of tearing down and like pouring a completely new foundation. And part of the reason can be like, are there some tax advantages to doing that?
We didn't look at it from that perspective. We didn't have intentions of tearing everything down and starting fresh. Yeah. So we'd never done this. So we were kind of working backwards a bit. We had architectural drawings, fixed the inside of the house. We were going to work within the shell that we had. When they got ready to start, they came to us and were like, there's so many rotted boards. There's so much damage in here. This would be a much cleaner, better project reflective of the brand of product you want to put out. We should go this other route. And having known what we know, like I would draw my drawings with it, like as the idea of working from totally fresh.
From scratch, yeah.
And you know, would we have done things different with the foundation? I'm not sure. It's a great basement. So it's like you can work within the footprint. We'll have a bed and a bath and a living room down there, which where it is, I look at like the product we're going to turn out, and it'll be something that's insanely desirable and a high level product for the marketplace.
What's the total specs of is going to be
So we'll be 4 beds, 3.5 baths, detached 2, car garage. We'll be close to 3,000 square feet, and of that finish will be about 2,800.
Wow.
And so you learn like some really cool things about designing a floor plan with like window placements. So like you look at the exterior of the house and you're like, you don't have any windows over here. Who the heck, like how did this happen? But it's more like you learn how to read the documents and the drawings and things like that along the way. So we started that project, and then I bought another one, and the contractor walked through, and we like go to the second story, and I'm like, can we do this? Can we go out over that porch? And he looks at me, and he's looking at the second story, and he goes, and I was like, we're not tearing the house down. He's like, no, second story, we'll remove it, build a new second story. We'll be able to get all the functionality associated with it and build from there.
Was it one of those finished attic kind of second stories?
So oddly enough, it was like dormer in the front, like a small dormer in the front, and then it runs like the length of the house, but it's like not all the way up from the like from the first floor. So everything sits in a little bit, so you're losing a little bit of footage on each side. And I'm like, we need to get a laundry up here. We need to get an extra full bath. He's like, clear the second story. We'll build on the existing. We'll build it up like a stick.
Yeah.
Square it all the way around. He's like, and it'll be very similar to what we're doing on the other job, just at a much lower level. He's like, and this will be way cleaner. So that will be something. When we did this, when I got the floor plans, it was like, we don't have a window over here. Let's get a window added. We need a transom here. We need this on the stairs. And you just get a little better each time.
Yeah.
And so for not knowing much at all, we found a slam dunk contractor, which you guys know, if you're in the space, you're only as good as the guys that you're hiring.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it sounds like you have a good contractor that has good ideas.
Like everybody, like we had partnerships that we struggled with in the past to scale. So like everything was, every time you go buy a house, negotiated like with your contractors to try to get a favorable deal that nobody liked and everybody was upset with at the end of the day. And we found ourselves like having to sub a bunch of stuff out, and it just didn't feel like a partnership. Coincidentally enough, the guy I work with, Russ, was like, hey, there's a crew doing a job up the street. I'm going to talk to him. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Let me know how that goes. Calls me up and goes, you got to come down here and see this work. They do a fantastic job. So went down and met them. They came over and bid a job for us, and we're like 60% of the other people that we were talking to. And I was like, can I see more of your work? Yeah. And I always look at things that are like, can you walk on the floor and does it feel weird? That's a sign of like education and pride in what you're doing. And show me your tile work. And I can typically from there feel pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, are your grout lines straight? And who the heck did all that? Like,
yeah, those are the attention to detail. There's no fast way to do those things. Yeah.
Slam dunk on that stuff. And I was like, you know, I just bought this house. It's my first flip. It's all my money's tied up. I don't have time for this. let's just roll with these guys. Like, let's learn. Let's just learn. And what was really neat, the house had aluminum siding on a second story dormer. And we were walking through the house with them, and they looked at me and they go, Alex, we're going to tear the siding off. And I was like, it's not in the budget. He's like, it's in my budget. I'll take care of it, and it won't be added to you.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? And they ran that project all the way through the finish line. It was like the TV show on the last day with the whole crew there at 9:30 at night. And, you know, we finished the job and we sat on the porch and drank tequila and Modelo's with the guys. And it's like, they now, when they come over to my house, my kids are like, Dad, the guys are here. And they become like true partners in this, which makes it, you know, it's like, this is all just a big game of risk, and it's our job to figure out how you can mitigate that risk in what you're doing. And so for me, like, tearing a house down when you have no idea what you're doing, it's not my job to know what I'm doing. It's his job to know what he's doing. It's my partner's job to understand how to file the permits. It's my team member's job to know what architectural drawings need to look like, and you need to lean into those things. So that's a superpower of mine, is like trust and leverage with team. Because you know, doing all that is a full-time job. Owning 20 doors is a full-time job. Running a real estate team is a full-time job. And then I have 3-year-old twins at home and a wife that I like to spend time with. So it's like, you got to wring the rag as efficiently as you can. But really, it's like, you're only as strong as the people that you have around you.
100%.
And I'm sure we'll get into like how you leverage those things that you've learned into what you do now. But I'm curious if we could back up for a minute. Like, at what point when you started investing, for those listeners who are thinking about it, who are just starting out, at what point did you decide that you were going to self-manage? Did you transition to a management solution, or do you have it all in house now? What's that look like?
Self-manage. So I had a buddy who was a mentor, and he self-managed, and you know, I bought my first units next door. The management of that's pretty easy. I go buy my second one. So like, I'm buying these things, like, I think about the first one 2016, the second one 2017. And then it was like one more here, one more there. And I could make it all work. I never felt like, man, I need a management company. But I bought units in areas that I knew really well. I was educated in the marketplace. So like, I was helping buyers and sellers every single day. So I knew what I was looking at inside properties. And then when we started doing, like, if we would get a turnover and renovate a kitchen, it was like, hey, there's knob and tube all over this house. And I'm like, rip it out, just get it done. Like, constantly like upgrading the property to just keep cleaning it up and keep moving it forward for the long term. And up until, it was roughly 3 years ago, I started, I think it was like 4 years ago, rates shifted. So I guess it would have been 2022. I started buying more product for tax purposes was really the play. Tax tail wagging the dog, if you've heard. And so I was less concerned about the quality of deal I was buying, but it was like, buy these, cost seg them, just get the tax benefits and figure it out later. Well, I started getting smoked from like tenant requests. So like, this is wrong, this is broke, sewer line, this. And it was like, at this point we were like really going full bore with lockstep. I think my kids were just born, and I was like, I can't, like, this is a mess. And after cost segging everything and getting like tax benefits, I was like, I can't sell these things. Like, I have to figure out a plan. So my financial advisor at the time, who now is a team member, a buddy, a friend, like my right-hand guy, and so many different avenues of this side of our business, was like, I'm like, what if I said, we have a couple plans, we can outsource this, which I didn't want to do because there's a lot of just control that you give up associated with that. And I didn't feel like that was a good move for what I was trying to do. And then the other side was like, can I hire somebody? And I didn't have anybody in front of me. And he's like, I'm really curious to learn about this. Like, what if I took these over? I did them as a part of the service I already provide for you. You let me learn. And then we can build this to a point where we're ready to hire somebody. And he took that over, and he oversaw some massive renovations that we did on projects, more because like we could, and he was managing it, like we probably never would have done some of this stuff. He learned he really liked it. He was a financial advisor at the time, came up to me shortly after this had been going on for about 6 months and was like, hey, can I take this over full time? I'll close down my financial advising shop. I'll get under the hood at Lockstep and just serve as like a consultant in your business and just drive this whole property management side of what you're doing. And we had intentions of building a PM company at that point. And he came into Lockstep, and it was like funny. Like, I bought our first flip, and then I'm doing all these rentals, and he's like overseeing all this stuff. And then Lockstep starts growing and growing, and then we're experiencing like challenges of scale. And I'm like, I need you in Lockstep over here with this stuff. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it was like, we'd have a property that was like, I'm like, hey, what's up with this house? And he's like, haven't done anything. He's like, I can only be in so many places at a time. And I was like, okay, we have to start treating these things like businesses, because that's what they become. And we have to start making hires. So like, I didn't start scaling into like bringing in help to manage, because I knew the contractors, I had the resources, I was educated on the properties. If I was not in real estate, I wouldn't try to do that, because it's too, you're one phone call away from burning down all of your financial profits, screwing up your house, setting your property back for years. And you're just one wrong phone call away. And look, I'm sure you guys get these calls all the time where it's like, why didn't you call me first? Those things happen all the time with our clients. So for us, it was like, it was always a no-brainer. Like, I got to keep it close to me, so I have control and understanding and knowledge of everything. And now the guy that does our management, he does it with Russ, my team member, but he works at Lockstep. He oversees everything. He's communicating with clients. So he's like a brand extension of like our in-house stuff at Lockstep. So yeah. I know Kevin, I trust Kevin, and he crushes that side of things for us. So,
yeah. And that, it makes sense, because, and I'm going to kind of, I guess, go back to a little bit of the narrative of self-managing versus hiring property management, because obviously, you know, we run a property management company, and what you've talked about, doing the BRRRR method, doing value add renovation, and essentially building your own property management operations. I mean, it's incredible what you've built, and it's something that not a lot of people do. And I think Stuart and I would probably both agree that, you know, we might have a little bit of bias here, but I would just say objectively, I think it's something that not everyone should do.
I would agree with that 1,000,000%. Like, if I didn't have the resources and the knowledge of the industry, and then at the time, the people, like, all of these things just fell into place. But if it was like, if I was investing in another market that I didn't have knowledge of, I wouldn't self-manage that. I wouldn't, if I was doing short terms, I would have a whole team of people that I hired to do those things. So I think, look, like, there are so many people that have got into investing in real estate over the last, call it like 5 or 6 years. It's all this stuff on TikTok and all this stuff on Instagram. People like get in because they think it's easy, but they need guys like you guys that are in this every single day to go, why did you buy this? Did you fix this? This is what needs to be done, and I have resources that can do this for you. And look, I think part of the reason you guys are so successful is, like, over the last handful of years, you've seen, like, the houses that come to market that are listed by PM companies that have been around for a really long time. It's like, this house hasn't been maintained. Like,
yeah,
this looks like this investor was set up to fail by buying into a poor operation. And look, I see the stuff you guys put out, and I see some of the stuff, like, I have a good relationship with Kenny Hall at Live. And I think there's levels of professionalism, just like all areas of real estate. Like, there's flippers out there that we tell our clients, don't touch their product. It's, you're going to get to inspection, it's going to be a problem every single time. And there's realtors out there that cut every corner. And I think that's it's like the blessing and the curse of real estate, like the stigma and the perception that people have about investors and slumlords and landlords and realtors and all that stuff exists, but it also gives us a great opportunity to really shine and set a different precedent of what's out there. So yeah, I would agree. Look, when I bought my first house, I hired this guy to do the renovation on my duplex. And he comes in and he like gives me this bid, and it was like all I could afford. But I didn't know he was working other jobs. So what he told me would take like 6 weeks. On like the third month, I'm like cussing him out every single day, screaming and yelling at him. I'm like, I can't move into this house. I'm still renting this other house I lived in. All of a sudden my payments are now like, I'm getting like
doubled. Yeah, you're doing.
I'm like
payments.
freaking out.
Yeah.
And so like there's so many things along the way that I was, because I had other income streams, like buying, like generating real estate transactions and, you know, everything else I was doing, like you get to those positions, you could afford the mistakes, but look, I paid for my lumps for sure.
Yeah. That, I was going to say, your first renovation experience sounds very similar to mine.
Oh my gosh.
Because we did it was a house hack, right? It
Yeah.
was a house that we bought in distressed condition, used FHA 203K loan, renovation loan to finance it. And we were going from renting to getting into that.
Yep.
And this was before I was a licensed agent. So, I let an agent who was probably just hungry for a commission, luckily, I mean, I still own it. It's a rental now, but it was like an experience where it was that like quoted me, 2 months and took 4 months to get through it. But
my inspection report. So like I showed this house to a buddy, this duplex, and he's like, this ain't for me. Whew. And I was like, I left and was like, it's listed for $275. I think I could get it for $250. Oh man, I think this is the stuff everyone tells me to do. So I write this offer, 10 counter offers back and forth for this deal. Like I'm everything that realtors hate in a buyer at this point, like countering over $1,000. Mm-hmm. Get the deal done. I get the inspection back, 99 pages. And you know how they tell you like when you're a buyer, oh, you should go to your inspections. So I like show up, and Shane Peterson, it used to be House Masters, is like, dude, there's a lot of brick issues, like masonry issues. The windows are original, so it's 1922. This is like 2016, so nearly 100 years old. You could look behind the foundation in the front of the house and like see into the basement. But I was like, I'll just fix all this, like whatever. Knob and tube.
Yeah, every problem.
Every single thing. And I was like, dude, this house is awesome, isn't it, Shane? He's like, Alex, there are so many problems here. And I'm like, some paint over here, some carpet down there. I'll live in this side. I'll slap some new tile, redo the kitchen a little bit, paint the cabinets, throw some stone on it. I'm like, this is killer. 99-page inspection report. And I call my buddy, who's an investor, and I was like, I have no money. All of my money is my down payment. And he's like, do not bail on this deal. And I was like, I don't have any money. He was like, go sell another house. Just keep selling, dude. This will be the best thing you ever did. And I ended up, after negotiations on inspection, it was like a net purchase of like $250, and I got a ton of credits a ton of credits. And that thing today, I've got an equity line on it for like 120 grand that I use all the time. And I've got, it rents for $4,400 a month between the two sides. And I think the mortgage payment on it, even after the 2% on your taxes, $2,100. So it's like, I got a mortgage balance on it of $180,000, and I think I could probably sell it in the open market for $600,000, given like what the rents are and what somebody'd pay for that location. Yeah. So it's like a lot of, and look, I think it matters to the listeners and to the people out there. It's like, that was 2016. There weren't many duplexes available on the market. People weren't hungry to buy them. House hacking wasn't educated about how it is today. My interest rate on 15% down was like 4.375.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course the math worked, but it does but when I bought that for $250,000 with all those problems, one side rented for $1,100. I was moving into that side. The other side rented for $1,400. So it was like a simple 1%er.
Which at that time was not sexy.
It was not. And then the market went bonkers and people rode the wave of increased rents, market appreciation year over year over year. It just became nuts. And it's like a lot of folks that tell these investor stories, I own all these properties and it's real easy and you can do it. It's like, well, tell the story from today, not from what it was years ago, because today's investor doesn't they got rates at 7 or 6.9 and or 7.5. It's like I have one in my portfolio, I think at almost an 8, and it's like that's hard. And these 1%ers that people are attracted to today, go drive there. Tell me if you want to meet a tenant there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because and so many investors target that cash flow. Even back in 2016, it was I like to tell people, now I get calls like, I would love to get something that hits the 1% rule. And then back then that was like, if you could get the 1% rule, that property better be in an A class.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to buy in a C class, I expect the 2% rule. That was what people would ask me for. And it was, believe it or not, it was achievable back then. But I do want to get into, you mentioned like to do it in today's numbers.
Yeah.
I want you to expand on that idea a little bit.
Sure.
Like if you're talking to an investor today, as we do all the time, who's like, hey, I've got some money saved up for a down payment. Maybe I own my own home. Maybe I don't even own my own home, but I want to get into real estate investing. Like, what do you tell that person? Like, where do you start if you had to start all over again?
How bad do you want to start? Don't start if you're not in this for the long game. There's nothing worse than the client that calls you, I want to invest. They call you 12 months later. I want to sell. What do you mean you're selling? You did everything wrong. You cashed out 401k money. You bought this deal. So you got tax penalty there. You're about to get tax penalty again. You're playing the game wrong. And the rules are there for everybody to learn and play by. So it's like, play the long game, buy this house, don't look up for 5 years, put the money away. Don't spend your cash flow on your kitchen renovation and your primary residence. Save money for the rainy day because the sewer line's going to break and your tenant's going to do something dumb and break a window and so that is a start. I like to get into the idea of like understanding how much money people actually have when doing this. So like, I don't shy away from the financial conversation of like, how much money do you have? Okay. Do you own a home? Have you looked at taking an equity line on your home? How much do you think your home's worth? How much do you owe there? And then look at like, how much money do you actually have access to? And then saying, look, I saw your clip recently from Nick about, hey, you have $40,000. What would you do with it? And it's like, just because you have enough to buy the house doesn't mean you have enough to maintain and all the other sides associated with it. Yeah. So I tell stories about my nightmare tenants and say, if this happened, what would happen?
Yeah.
Would you have to sell the property? I rented a house on 49th Street right next to Upland a handful of years ago. I threw this thing up. Lady comes in, goes, we'll move in today. And if anybody says that as an investor, don't accept that
biggest
person.
red flag there is.
I was like, really? She's like, and we'll pay you cash. And this was 5 years ago. It was a green flag to me. I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I like cash.
This works great. She comes back with a roll like an hour later. She moves in. Like 3 days later, I get a call and she's like, Alex, there's like water coming up from the drain in the basement. I go in the house. There's like mattresses in the basement for like kids sleeping in a broader basement. I'm like, oh no. Everything. It was like the house had become like compressed hallways because there was so much stuff.
Yeah.
And they just like moved all this stuff in. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. And I knew there was knob and tube, but I had an inspection and it checked out as good. Original windows and kids sleeping in a broader basement. And I was like, fast track to ruin your life is to do nothing here. So I call a window company. This is COVID time. Window like lead time was like 12 to 16 weeks. So I order windows, but I'm like, 12 to 16 weeks with all the people in here and all the stuff plugged in. And I'm like, this is an electrical fire waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I called a guy who does commercial electrical work, and he put everything in conduit. He just rewired the whole house, threw it in conduit, up on the ceiling, up on the walls. And I was like, I don't care. Just make it safe as fast as you can. So we did that. But anyways, we get to the end of the lease and they've like destroyed the house. And I was like, hey guys, taxes have spiked. You're paying way below market rent. I have to raise rent on you. Raise rent. Never hear from her. And then the tenant, the neighbor calls because it's a duplex. He's like, hey, they moved out last night. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I go over to the house.
Just as fast as they moved in.
Just as fast as they moved in. And they left about half their stuff. And my kitchen cabinets were now teal, and the walls were purple, and the ceilings were black. And I'm like, they spray painted my house because they were pissed that I raised rent. And when I raised rent on her, she said, the taxes aren't my problem, they're your problem. And I was like, okay. And so like they destroy the house, and I think it ended up costing me, between the kitchen that was beat up and the bathroom and all sorts of this stuff, it's like $50,000 to $60,000, and then the dumpsters and all sorts of things. And it's like, I share that story.
Yeah.
And then you see the tenant go, or the investor who's curious. Well, actually, I'm not sure. And then if somebody comes back and they're like, yeah, I'm interested. It's like, cool, let's talk more. What do you know about this? Like, what are you looking for? Do you want cash flow? Do you want appreciation? Do you want just something stable? There's duplexes in the market that are new construction right now that they won't cash flow great, but they'll appreciate over time, and your maintenance on them will be pretty low.
Yeah.
So like we educate from those perspectives. And then I also tell people, if you're hiring me to do the best job for you, I'm probably going to tell you 99% of what you send me is a bad deal. And that's not because I'm not trying to be helpful, but it's because if you buy the wrong deal, you'll be out of the game forever. It takes forever to get back into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's typically how we would handle something like that.
What you just explained is something that I just wish more. We know there's so many agents in this market that are not doing that.
Look, Indianapolis has exploded, particularly since 2020, due in fact to so many people coming back home, affordability relative to the markets that people leave Indiana to go live in. So like, I remember 2020, 2021, it was like client moving back from Seattle, buddy moving back from Wyoming, Florida, Chicago, like all the stuff that's cool to go to when you're like 21, 25 years old. All of a sudden, when it's time to buy a home or start a family, it's not cool.
Yeah.
It's not cool to pay what you got to pay to live there. Or it's not cool to have to pay for daycare in those areas 5 days a week when grandma wants to help and you could live down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So many people came back, but then also investors got so jazzed up about it.
Yeah.
And look, anybody can help an investor, whether you know or not. So it's like,
yeah,
you guys do a great job of educating. The guys at Roots do a killer job of educating. Kenny does a good job of educating. But that sample size is so small. And I know how many phone calls we get at Lockstep every single week that's like, I'm an investor. And it's like, you can't have one realtor help all those people. So it's like,
yeah,
there has to be more education around it. This is great for that. And it's good to help just keep improving and do your part, but it's almost like lack of education for folks trying to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's true. And I do want to clarify, like when I say like a lot of agents are not kind of doing what you're doing, setting people up for success by saying like, I mean, worst case scenario, this is what you might be looking at, or like, what is your actual financial position, and is this the best move for you? Like, I think that a lot of agents don't ask that question, not because they're, sometimes I've heard investors say like, they're oh, they're just commission hungry. They're just, and maybe like it is how agents get paid.
Sure.
It's how we feed our families.
Yeah,
like,
of course. This is the job.
You know, it is the job, but it's not just because they're commission. That's not the whole story. It's not just because they're commission hungry. It's they might just not know what they don't know.
Yeah.
That agent may have, they might not own any rentals themselves. So they haven't had those hands-on experiences to say, you know, this is what can happen. And, you know, this is how you might have to deal with it. And so
I think, look, there's so much conversation you could take from that. If you're a realtor and you're doing this job full time and you're in this game for the long run and you're not investing in real estate, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? You look at houses every single day. You know the good deals. You know the bad deals. You know the deals that, you know what is going to show up on an inspection report before it shows up on the inspection report. You also get access to so much off-market stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, this is... I had an accountant years ago. We were talking about investing money, and we were just talking about that. And he was like, I always think you need a portion of your money to be what's classified as mad money, like the aggressive, super high risk.
Upside, growth potential money.
Yeah, people would look at like real estate investing around that. But if this is your job every single day, what a cheat code that you're not taking advantage of.
It's a synergy. Like you have a competitive advantage, or you should. If you're truly like as knowledgeable as you, I imagine, are presenting yourself to your clients as being, like, if you have all that knowledge, apply it for your own. Because I mean, that's how I feel. Like, there's such a cognitive dissonance that has to exist. Like, if you're an agent who is like, you know, not investing, let alone maybe not even being a homeowner yourself. That's always like a mind bender for me. When I can understand if it's a really young person that's like, sure, I'm just getting started and I'm actively working toward. I met a guy like that the other day who's like really hustling as a new licensee, and he's like, yeah, I want a house hack. And it's like, yeah, he's still renting himself. He's not a homeowner, but he already has the right mindset.
Yep.
He's like, this is exactly what I'm here to do, and I'm not worried about him.
Well, there's also so much information, like good information, bad information, but there's so much information out there to learn. So like, if you're listening and you don't know, or you're unsure, or you want to try, like, they should call me. They should call you. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the point of this. Mm-hmm. And so like those types of, like, part of, you know, my story, like, hey, I bought this duplex. I almost bailed on that deal at every single turn. And it was because of my buddy, who's a friend now, like a dear friend of mine, one of my best buddies. And without him, I would have bailed. I remember getting an inspection report and going, and he sat down and he drew it all out. What's your down payment? $35,000 at the time. And he goes, okay, you get a tax credit here, $7,700. What'd you negotiate on inspections? What'd you do for this? What's this look like? You got closing costs. Oh, you're getting a commission too. He goes, you're getting paid $9,000 to buy this house.
Yeah.
He goes, buy the house.
Yeah.
And look, my family was not real estate. Like, when my mom and dad looked at the house, my dad asked me, he's like, what are you doing? And my mom cried. And the girl I was dating at the time cried. And I was like, I think it'll be all right.
Yeah.
Like, my buddy does really well. He's run a great business. He told me it was a good deal. I trust him.
Yeah.
And that's like, there's risk, but again, it's like, I'm a real estate professional. I know that what I'm buying this house for is a great deal. So if all else fails, I'll just sell it.
I could really relate to that on a recent deal. I got like, we're doing a short-term rental. It's the most expensive property I've bought with renovations. But it's in Fletcher Place. It's 2 units. It's like, it's just, we've ran the numbers. We're confident in the numbers. Like, and it's like, you just have to, at the end of the day, if you believe in the deal, you know, go for it.
Yeah. That concept has worked on the rental side. It's helped us really, really do well on this flip side that we've taken. Look, consumers don't want their own work. They want work done for them. Mm-hmm. So if you can look at that, like, I just had one of the deals we just put on the market. We're a 2,300 or 2,600 square foot ranch on a basement. and we back up to a 5-bed, 3,600 square foot house. My house is nicer. Was more expensive. It was better done. It's more professional. It's exactly what a buyer's going to want, and somebody's going to love it. I talked to that seller. He's like, my house is updated. I'm like, when'd you update it? He's like, 10 years ago. I'm like, buyers don't want to have to update your 10-year-old stuff. Like, and so for us, like when we bought it and we did that deal, like we knew it's like, I like to play this game where it's like you buy a house and you set your conservative pricing, and then you ride the project out and you get emotionally attached a little bit as an investor, and you're like, yeah, I think I can get another 20 grand. I think I can get another 50 grand. And there's always that guy on your shoulder going, hey, like, what was the number when you started? That matters. But also understanding movement of the market. We listed this one 2 weeks ago, and had we listed it 2 months ago, we would have been in a lot different spot, because 2 months ago, the market was ice cold. Right now, it's like, buyers are back poking around. They're coming back out. We're off the fall swing. People want to get in a house by the end of the year. There's people trying to find opportunity before spring comes. And so it's just like understanding and then having opportunity just fall into your fortune. But you can't experience that if you don't play the game.
One thing that really stood out to me earlier, what you said was early on in your investment journey, and again, to the listener, I think one of the most important takeaways would be don't be afraid to just continually reinvest into the property.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience, we work with investors a lot who just outright refuse to do that because they're trying to wring that towel as dry as they can every month. And you're only shooting yourself in the foot long term.
Bingo. What are you doing this for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The $40,000, let's just use that example and talk through that. You buy a house with 40 grand. If you want 40,000 to in turn pay you back, let's just say it's $500 a month. $500 a month. If you're playing the short game, I would rather have $40,000.
Yeah.
And so the investor that won't put the money in, like, we have a saying in our office around like passive homeownership doesn't pay. So like you can neglect the furnace and not change the filter for $6 and have it serviced for 50 or 100 or whatever it costs now. Or you can pay $16,000 for an HVAC unit. What would you like to do? You can rip out the knob and tube today, or you can have an electrical fire that your insurance company will deny. Like, how do you want to play this game? You can replace the roof before you have massive water spots on your ceiling because it's a 3-tab from 2004. Or you can wait till your ceiling caves in and a tenant calls you, and then you have to place your tenant elsewhere. And part of knowing that, I had this, one of the houses I bought it for what I thought was a pretty solid deal. And my intentions were to have it be, I will rent this. This will not be as nice as my other stuff, so this can be a backstop for the tenant that doesn't want to pay what that other unit costs. Hey, this is a little too much for me. Hey, I have another option for you. The maintenance calls were unbelievable. And then, hey, Alex, when we take a shower, it rains in the kitchen. I was like,
just the description of it.
I'll be over. I'm coming. Like, please stop taking a shower. So one bathroom.
Can you turn the water off now? I can hear it running.
One bathroom house. I get there. It's behind a window. That's an exterior wall. It's running behind the shower pan, down through the kitchen wall. And I'm like, I call a contractor and he's like, we can certainly try to seal everything, but there's so much like water damage to the subfloor. He's like, dude.
You gotta rip all this out.
He's like, this all needs to come out. 7 days, I put a tenant in a hotel, extended stay. Whatever that costs, it was like $1,600. Plus the contractor to go, I need you right now. That costs extra money. And I need this done in 5 days. Go, please, fast as you can. Yeah. And it's like, all because you were trying to save $1 up front and cut a corner. Yeah. It doesn't work.
The saying in our office is investors that won't get out of their own way. Like you came to a management company asking for professional advice, and you just don't listen to it.
Yeah. I was gonna bring, like, we've had to. I mean, I think any management company that's been around long enough has been through this. Like we've had to fire clients. Where
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, we bring people on and everything seems to check out okay, but we've ran into those types of situations where, hey, you've got a 5-alarm fire, not literally a fire, but it's like you've got a red alert happening at your property right now. We need to spring into action. We've had people respond to us like, I can't afford to do anything right now. I'm like, then you need to sell the property like immediately, because you're not in a position to own a property and have a tenant depending on you to provide this space and have it be well maintained.
You used the word synergy earlier, and that has to do with like, hey, I work in the real estate industry, so I buy and sell, flips, but then I also invest. But I also look at this like, if you're in the real estate space in any capacity, that's like someone has to live there. That's someone's home.
Yep.
To me, there's like some sort of moral compass there that
There ought to be.
oh my gosh, like that's like, and I've always said this, like we charge premium rent. Our properties are stunning. We fix them up nice. We overspend on them. They look nicer than ever, but our tenants call us to then buy their first property. Our tenants call us to extend leases. We invest up front for like long-term opportunities with tenants. So it's like, hey, we think we may want to potentially own a home. It's like, well, here, like sign a lease, 12 months. We'll talk at the end of 12 months. And if something happens on month 9, let's just talk about it. Like we want to be a resource for you. And that connectivity between like landlord, team, property management team in your guys' instance, and the tenant, nobody treats them like that. And it's like, these are people who need a place to live.
Yeah.
What are you doing? That to me is just like.
And how many landlords rented at one point in their life? It's like you shouldn't be that divorced from the empathy, for that.
It's bizarre. But it's crazy. Every time a tenant calls and they come in, they're like, property looks great. This is awesome. And I can't believe you called me back. And you're the person I talked to on the phone. And this is amazing. And it's like, this is like basic humanity. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
It's
this
crazy.
Shouldn't be impressive.
Also, like that's great business. Like that's great. Like you're treating people well. You're doing the right thing. It's never the wrong time to do the right thing in business. Like what do we, like, to me, it like you said, this is just, it's such an easy thing. It should be at least.
That piece of it does get forgotten too much by investors, and I do think it can be a particular problem when people are investing from out of state, because it's a little bit more of that out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. And I do think it can. I mean, the business I'm in property management, we provide a service for people that need help with management. But I think that's something we have to harp on a lot in our business. I mean, it has become one of my pet peeves is when you only look at the spreadsheet and you just forget the whole humanity side of it. And apart from just having moral principles when it comes to it's also like you don't realize how much you're hurting yourself, because it goes back to what you were saying about maintaining the asset. Because maintaining the asset, not only is that going to have dividends on rising rent and rising equity for you in the property and lower maintenance cost, or lower, like you're not going to have those catastrophic situations where you lose something.
Yep.
Even though it is more passive than like say short-term rental or something like that, with a long-term rental, at the end of the day, you are providing a service.
Yep.
You're providing a value to a customer, and that customer is your tenant. And if you look at it through that perspective, and you have to constantly be thinking about, what is my customer's experience right now? So many people just forget that.
Could talk about this stuff all day long. You could pay now, you could pay later. Like there's a million ways to look at this.
Jumping over $1 to save a dime.
Oh
We say that one a lot.
Yeah. The other concept is like, if you take a property that you won't maintain that has a problem, and the tenant moves out at the end because you wouldn't address a problem, well, the next tenant's not going to come in and pay you market rent either because the problem still exists. And so you can fix the problem for the person that's there and maintain the relationship, strengthen the relationship actually by doing the right thing, keep the tenant longer, and then not have vacancy.
Yep.
Like the vacancy piece.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse as a landlord. Like when you got something up for rent, you have a turnover, you can't get a tenant in, and it's like a 0 and then another 0. It's like, oh my gosh, this is killing my year.
Yeah.
Whether it's intentional or not. So it's like, if you face that over neglect, it's like, what do you like? You're playing the wrong business. Like this is really easy done correctly.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I was thinking about when you were talking about like unforeseen expenses, vacancies, unit turns, eviction costs. All those things can be avoided by just consistently reinvesting.
Yeah. Scrubbing credit a little harder when you check for tenants.
I was that is one of the takeaways too, is when somebody hands you a roll of cash, refuse it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, can you fill this Zillow app out or can you fill this app out online? Yeah. But those are like expensive lessons. But look, lessons that have shaped how we do a lot of stuff today.
Yeah. The school of hard knocks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been awesome.
Appreciate the opportunity and respect what you guys do. Always have from afar. Your social channel is one of my favorites.
Thank you.
Please sing more about Indianapolis. I would love that.
Yeah, I don't know. My voice is a little tired.
But yeah, man, I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this and ton of respect for what you guys are doing. And I think it's a fun journey to do it together.
Yes, sir.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You want to take an opportunity to talk about your business and your plugs real quick?
Please way.
Yeah. So, team leader at Lockstep Realty. We just eclipsed $100 million in sales volume for the year. 2023 to 2024 up 30%, and then 2024 to 2025 another 30% increase. So we're really proud about our growth at Lockstep, and it's a great opportunity we work really well with new agents getting in the business, learning how to properly execute the craft of being a professional. But then also we excel at taking agents that are kind of stuck in that $2 to $5 million range and then teaching them how to really scale and grow a business while also protecting the things in life that matter the most. I referenced my kids and wife earlier. And I think oftentimes our real estate industry pegs our success to the number of homes we sold or the volume that we sell. Look, I'm really proud of selling $100 million as a real estate team. I'm most proud of the relationships that I've developed with the agents in the room. I'm even more proud of the dad I get to be. I haven't sold any, I don't produce, so I'm not in the trenches selling houses. So my evenings are spent focused on my family with my wife. And that, my kids were born in 2022. So the growth that we've experienced has happened while I'm still helping at home and doing those things. So I try not to work evenings. I try not to work weekends. And that in our world, you guys know, is a real challenge.
You've arrived at that point. That's
my gosh. It's, for me, it's just something that it's power of the people that work with us at Lockstep and the growth that we have. So big things are ahead for us. I think probably I said this the other day in a social post, and I've actually said it a couple more times, so I'm really starting to believe it, but I think we'll double that number next year. I wouldn't be shocked if we did $200 million in business, just because we have such fantastic people. So proud of that. Continuing to flip. So be on the lookout for some stuff that we got coming on the market there. And yeah, appreciate all that stuff.
I love it.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the show, man. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening, and I think we're out.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed the episode, please leave us a 5-star review on Spotify and like the episode and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. That really helps us out.
If you think someone that you know could benefit from hearing the things that we talked about on today's episode, please share it with them.
You can check out our full library of episodes wherever you get your podcasts. And if you have any suggestions for the show, like who we should interview or a topic we should discuss, please email us at circleinvestorpod@gmail.com.
That's it for today, but join us right back here next week for another episode of the Circle Investor Podcast.